Hello, welcome to freedomalcohol.com. This is Sam French. I hope this finds you well. You join me here, week 17 of Freedom from Alcohol, and I hope you had a good week last week. And in last week's live videos, we talked about keeping that momentum and keeping that perspective going, and that drive and enthusiasm, and that is persistence that prevails in being free from alcohol. Today I want to talk about a programme that was on the BBC. It was a documentary by a chap called Louise, Theroux, and I have put that link on my Twitter site, and you can watch it on BBC iPlayer if you're in the UK, and if you're not, I'm sure it'll be available on YouTube or other outlets going forward, and I'll post the link if it does come up on YouTube. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because it was, for me, it was quite hard hitting, and if you read the reviews online as well, or some of the newspaper reviews, etc., they described it as that as well. It wasn't easy viewing, and I think the reason that this was the case was because it was the hard-hitting end of alcoholism, the hard-hitting end of what it looks like to to completely and utterly lose everything and end up in, I think it was King's Hospital in London, on a drip, collapsing, shaking, and all the rest of it. That worst case scenario, that stereotype of what an alcoholic is and looks like. And it was really hard hitting, and it followed a number of people's stories, some of whom who had absolutely completely given up on the thought, on the idea, on the aim that it was possible to live a free life from alcohol. And a lot of them were actually talking about the fact that the benefits of drinking alcohol were greater than the benefits of going free. That's the place that they got into, and I know that this isn't the case, but I still found it really, really hard hitting that alcohol can do that to people. I felt very sorry for them, I felt very sad, and I also felt very worried. They had people on there who had had sustained periods of freedom from alcohol, who had relapsed, and that's quite a hard-hitting message to listen to, especially as I'm sat here week 17. And I suppose I'm really, really aware that all the things that I've been working on, and that hopefully I've helped in sharing these ideas, and the things which I've done in my life, and the routines which I've done, are all supporting my freedom from alcohol. The positive thing from it was just a reaffirmation, a reconfirmation that going free from alcohol is absolutely the right thing to do, and absolutely the thing I need to keep working on. It was also a further wake-up call, the realisation of just how fucking horrible alcoholism is, and that whilst I might see myself now free from alcohol, not having a problem, the reality is it's still there, it's still underlying, and I don't want to, and this is debated quite a lot, I don't want to write myself off completely and label myself as an alcoholic, because I don't think, and this isn't the fact that I'm not an alcoholic, this sounds totally ridiculous, I'd rather relabel myself a problem drinker, and the reason that I do this is simply because you label yourself under that umbrella in society, and I feel and I think a load of doors and stereotype, a load of doors close and a load of assumptions are made, as we love to do in society. It's a little bit like it's acceptable to drink, but it's not acceptable to take heroin. They're both drugs, and as I've always said, a drug in our society is a drug, except it's a drink and it's treated completely differently. So yeah, this documentary was really hard hitting for me. It just made me remember that that is where I can end up, that is where you can end up, and it's not something I want to, sit on for hours and days, because I think part of being free from alcohol is about freeing yourself through your routines and gradually getting into a place where you are more confident. But last night, or the night before, whenever it was, I've got to be honest, it really did hit a little bit of my confidence, made me feel very sad, and made me feel a little bit worried. The other thing it did, quite interestingly, was open up a conversation with myself and my wife, which will remain confidential, but actually it really helped us. We communicated a bit more about the things that have been going on for me, and it wasn't a positive conversation, it certainly wasn't an argument. certainly helped me understand a little bit more of where my other half is coming from too in all of this, and how she has been affected. And whilst I have recognised that over time, it's not something that we've talked about a huge amount. So it was really, really good for me to talk about that. And I think I'm going to talk to her and let her know that tonight, because I think it's an important thing to do. We also raised the topics of relapse and the possibility of that, which is always there for my wife, because she's seen that happen, which is a very hard thing for someone to comprehend and deal with. So we talked about that possibility, and I'm really grateful that she was thankful for that. And we talked about some other members that we're at friends' families that we're aware of that also have similar problems. So yes, it was sad, emotional, but also some positive things from that documentary. And I would encourage you, even if it's very uncomfortable, just to watch it, see what you get from it, and go from there. The reality, as we know, is that a lot of alcoholic drinking that goes on in society is hidden. It's the person who goes home after their day's work, like myself, and used to drink in the evenings, gets into that habit, and gradually, slowly but surely gets sucked in to that alcohol, that need for the fix, etc. And then they get locked into it. And I suppose, again, referring to the documentary again, that wake-up call's there for me. You know, that's where it starts. Where does it end up? It could end up in that hospital in London. So just having that in the back of my mind as well. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it now, and it was certainly hard-hitting, really, really hard-hitting. And I hope that there's lots of people out there, whether professionals, alcoholics or not, who got something from it, and perhaps took a chance to step back and look at themselves and go, do you know what, I need to review what I'm doing. My drinking isn't healthy. I am consuming half a bottle of wine a night, or I am consuming a lot more than that, but it creeps up, it certainly does. So yeah, that's it. I haven't got a lot more to say today on the back of that. Have a look at it. I'll be interested to know if anyone else watched it, and just remember, it is about that momentum, about keeping going, keeping those routines going, making sure that you're realising the benefits of being free from alcohol. And again, I was watching it on the telly as well, and thinking, do you know what, this freedom from alcohol isn't something that can be beaten through willpower. It's not about willpower stopping drinking. It comes back to those core facts that I started out with, those core behaviours where my journey started, of what is it that you need to change? What is it in your behaviours and lifestyle that you need to change? How are you going to do it? How are you going to step outside of your comfort zone to get there? And why is it that you're using drink as a crutch? And once you're past that physical dependency that is always there for those who've been drinking heavily, it comes back to that. I'm going to go back to the normal format next week and talk a bit more specifically, and open up a question again next week. But for now, thank you for listening to freedomalcohol.com. Have a great week.